Nancy Pelosi has an evolving perspective on impeachment. I'm not sure I know what this means, but here's Nancy Pelosi talking to Washington Post Robert Costa. And the Democrats, I mean, there's clearly a scenario that's playing out where the Trump administration seems to be daring Democrats to impeach him. They are pushing it. And I think the theory from the Trump administration is we're playing a game of chicken. Even if they come after us and try and impeach us, I can't get removed from office. It was fine for Bill Clinton. It'll satisfy those people who are Democrats, maybe more the base of the Democratic Party. But independents, the polling is supposedly bad on impeachment, and this is going to alienate the Democrats from voters that they will need. That is undoubtedly the administration's perspective on this. Nancy Pelosi may accept that calculation, or maybe slowly realizing I cannot avoid. There is too much to be lost by not impeaching in terms of the enthusiasm of the Democratic base. But the point is, at one point, you got to cut bait and make this decision, and then you got to go full hog and explain to the people of the United States why this guy needs to be impeached. That doesn't mean removed from office. It means like it's a form of censure. Because we know the Senate is not going to remove him and convict him. And so, I'm starting to think that, and I think this is one of those situations where it's like my hesitation about impeachment has been you're not saving anything for the second term. But I think you basically have come around to where I think that, the same things that are moving Pelosi. Like, if you don't impeach him now, it looks just too weak. They are challenging it too much. And it's making the Democrats look too weak. And it's making them look muddled. Seems to me Nancy Pelosi could come out now and say, we're going to pursue impeachment. We know it's not going to remove him from office, but there's been an extraordinary amount of law breaking. We need to censure him on behalf of the American public. We will move forward with the operations of government because he will be the president until that election, but we need to impeach. We need to impeach because we need to send a message that law breaking is wrong, and this is the only mechanism. And if the Republicans won't join us, that's on them. Here she is with Costas.
About Don McGahn, you're facing challenges not just from the AG, but the White House is citing executive privilege, thinking about asserting it as they make their case against Congress. Can you hold him in contempt, Mr. McGahn, for refusing congressional demands?
Well, we don't know that he has yet. Let's take it one step at a time. Let's see where it goes. And I have said the president is wants to goad us into impeachment because that he knows, as do I, that's not a good thing for the country. Well, maybe he knows that, but he knows that I think that. Let's put it that way. He knows that I think that. But the point is that every single day, whether it's obstruction of having people come to the table with facts, ignoring subpoenas and the rest, every single day, the president is making a case. He's becoming self-impeachable in terms of some of the things that he is doing.
Let's pause there. That's an important point you just made. You think about 1974. The House Democrats had their articles of impeachment against President Nixon. Article 3 of the impeachment proceedings then was about obstruction of Congress, about abuse of power. Could there be an option for Democrats that you would consider of a narrow impeachment proceeding against President Trump about the issues you just raised, obstruction of Congress?
Let me just say that right now we have our committees doing the investigation. Since you mentioned 1974, at that time, Congress took months to build a case. They did investigations. Sam Erwin wasn't the Judiciary Committee. That was the committee that was doing the investigation. And then they, with the information they gathered, they came to that conclusion. But we really, we ran and won on for the people agenda.
Yeah, you can chew gum and walk at the same time. I mean, the for the people agenda cannot be implemented if you have a chief executive officer of the chief of the executive branch who is breaking the laws repeatedly. I mean, that's just the bottom line. And I think the idea is be honest with the American public. We're not going to be able to get him out of office. We need to impeach as a way of putting down a marker. The American people need to say to not just this president, but to any future president, you cannot break the law without some accountability. And the Republican Party can stop you from being punished. They can pardon you. They can commute your sentence, but they cannot keep us from holding you to account for your law breaking. That should be the message. And that way you can also implicate the Republican Party because they are implicated in this. They are completely implicated in this. In all of it. In all of it. Here's Jerry Nadler, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, basically saying that we are in a constitutional crisis at this moment as the president is denying, and the executive branch are denying lawful requests of information, subpoenas from Congress. This is beyond norm breaking. These are constitutionally valid procedures that the president and the executive branch are breaking. And the tough part is they can go to the courts, but the judiciary is very hesitant to get involved in a fight between these two branches of government. Impeachment is really one of the few ways in which the judiciary will step in and say, okay, if you guys are taking it to this level, we can adjudicate that. So by having, let's say, a joint, like a select committee on impeachment, let's say. So you're not actually starting the impeachment procedures. You're starting a committee to investigate the issues that would be a form of impeachment. Just get it out there. That will provide some measure of authority to these congressional attempts to get this information. I mean, and I think Nadler is now just out there and he's trying to get public support for this.
It sounds like you're saying a monarchy, but by another name, it's a constitutional crisis. Where do you think?
Well, the phrase constitutional crisis has been overused, but certainly.
Certainly what?
Certainly it's a constitutional crisis, although I don't like to use that phrase because it's been used for far less dangerous situations. The phrase has been overused.
I hear you, but you feel that we are currently in a constitutional crisis or headed for one?
No, we're in one. We're in one because the president is disobeying the law, is refusing all information to Congress, which means that he's I mean, when he told the head of his nominee for head of Homeland Security, close the border, and then he said, well, that's illegal. He said, don't worry, I'll protect you. That's a lawless administration. We cannot have a lawless administration.
There you have it. I got you covered. I got some good lawyers. You need to lose some money? I can work that out, too.
I can see my way to looking past this.
But what if there wasn't a law?
I'm giving
Sit
you
back, dream with me.
special. All right, one more thing I wanted to talk about.